Welcome to the UFL Homer Hour, as me and Rob are going to talk about the championship game. It is set. We've got the Michigan Panthers going against the DC Defenders. We're going to discuss who's going to win. We also got announcements on the defensive player of the year and the offensive player of the year. And we're going to debate if that was a good call off the UFL. This is coming up next on the UFL Homer Hour.
Hey,
Robert.
Nick, how's it going?
Did you have a good weekend, sir?
Yes, I did. It was pretty good. Got some wine, relaxed in the yard, and watched some pretty good football. How about you?
Yeah, pretty much I did I was just cooking and taking care of things on Saturdays. So I did all the choring on Saturdays so I can watch the football. And as you can see, I did the stream on the second half of both games. The second game, I might have pushed my sobriety there. It was a little much, so I do apologize to all the fans out there, unless you guys had fun with us. But we did get to watch those football games. It's pretty exciting. Both good games. What do you think?
The games were great. I was surprised by the Stallions. I guess I could have gone with my heart in my pre-game prediction there. I was surprised by the Stallions. I'm glad they didn't win. I wanted the Panthers to win, but I didn't think they'd get boat raced.
Well, I think boat racing is a little unfair, and we'll break it down. We'll definitely get the discussions on it, but I don't know.
They tightened it up, but it was never in doubt.
It looked like there was going to be a clear team. And one thing we can all agree on, the two rightful teams that should be in this championship are in the championship. These are the two best of the conferences. It's no weird shady thing like the Renegades snuck in with the 4-6 record, even though we still won. This isn't like that. This is actually a team that, two teams that really do deserve it. But before we even break down the games, they did announce the offensive and defensive player of the game of the year. And lo and behold, would you look at this? We got Bryce Perkins winning offensive player of the year. Rob, you loving that choice? I know there's a lot of discussion between him and Taumoepenu. Looks like the league's so far liking Bryce Perkins a little bit more.
Yeah, he's the most exciting player on offense, that's for sure. He can do a little bit more with his legs than Taumoepenu can. But that being said, if Taumoepenu is getting the MVP, then this makes sense. But, earlier on, before the playoffs started, they did release, which we should have talked about in our pregame show, but we didn't. But they released the all-UFL team. And on that, I would have expected Jordan Taumoepenu as the quarterback. And they did list Bryce Perkins. So they're just going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say if Perkins played the full season, he would have clearly been the best. My argument simply is, but he didn't. And in fact, he didn't gain the trust of his coach until week 3, week 4, by the time Nolan finally really turned away from Etling. So
would that be his fault, or do you think that's Mike Nolan just being reserved and not understanding what he's watching over there?
Oh, it's definitely more on Nolan, but at the same time, for all we know, he would have thrown 5 more picks. And, you play the games to play the games. So if Taumoepenu gets MVP, fine. It's all good. Because as we see traditionally in, the NFL, for example, if you win Offensive Player of the Year, you're not the MVP. So it's pretty much in the NFL, the second best quarterback gets Offensive Player of the Year. The best quarterback gets MVP. If they go that route, that's fine. But with Perkins also getting the all UFL team spot, I feel like the league's going to let him sweep there. And if I was Taumoepenu, I'd definitely be using that for motivation going into Saturday night.
Yeah, I think that would be so strange if Taumoepenu wins the MVP, but they did not give him the all UFL team. So he's not the best player. He didn't even make that roster, but yet he's somehow going to win the MVP. I mean, that'd be the equivalent of, your MVP not making the Pro Bowl in the NFL.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Unless they're just gonna, they really did push the Spring King book. Maybe they're just gonna go ahead and give it to Luis Perez as MVP just because they need to make a few more book sales.
Well, I'm okay with that. I would get behind that. Forget the controversy. I'll take on the controversy. Give me Luis Perez as the head quarterback. Although we do have Bryce Perkins' stats up here, right over here. I mean, even for not playing in, I would say almost half the games. I mean, he only played what, 6, I believe, 6 games.
Right. So about 60% of the games. Those are great stats. But for me, when you're looking at MVP, it's who's the guy that you want with the game on the line. And for me, that's Taumoepenu. I mean, just look at, and we'll get more into it when we talk about the games, the windows Taumoepenu can fit that ball into. Perkins can't do that. I mean, the game this week, the defender's receivers recovered, and Taumoepenu was like, yeah, whatever. I've got like 3 inches of a window right here. I'm going to put it right there. Boom, catch.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a tale of two different kind of quarterbacks. Because although Taumoepenu can run, sure. I don't think he can move around the pocket like Bryce Perkins can.
He cannot. He cannot.
Yeah, he's more of an up and down speed, kind of like Kaepernick was really known for that. He was just a gazelle when he got on the run and could get a lot of speed over there. So Taumoepu's got that for sure, and he might even be faster. I can't really tell up and down speed, but I can read quickness, and I think Bryce Perkins is a lot quicker. I think you're right. Maybe the accuracy might not be 100% there up to Taumoepenu. Taumoepenu, he's got a hell of a deep ball. Throws the best, I think, clearly in the league, or close to it. I mean, there's some other good ones out there like Perkins,
he's got like, if I was like an NFL scout and I was just looking at only able to draft from like the UFL, Taumoepenu would be like the no doubt number 1 overall pick. And Perkins would be that guy that would be talking about huge upside, would be talking about where he can grow, how he can get there. Perkins would be your number 2 or number 3 overall pick.
Possibly.
Sailors at running back from St. Louis might sneak in there and take that number 2 overall pick away from Perkins. But
well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't know why Sailors isn't in the NFL. And and it was really fun watching.
That'll change, right? That'll change during camp.
I mean, you'd think, but maybe at his age, it's just they don't want to give running back a chance. I don't have his age off the top, but I would imagine he must be a little older. While you're
find it, while you're
Well, I'll tell you another one though that I think should be in the NFL. I've liked him all year long too. Is Hakeem Butler too?
Oh, and that one-handed catch.
Yeah, my favorite moment during our live broadcast was Tyler, who did not watch the UFL, has no experience with UFL, was asking the same thing that I am. Why is this guy not in the NFL? This guy's good. And I'm like, I don't know. I guess my excuse was the go up and go get it guys. It's just not as big like in Anquan Bolton or your Des Bryants or your, just go up and go get it wide receivers. It's all about that hybrid, shifty, and they can also go get it. And I think that's just the direction the NFL's going, but still shocked he can't find a job. Taylor's age?
So 25.
He's still in. Yeah.
Be able to make, if he's not invited to some camps, I would be shocked. As a New England Patriots fan, bring him on in. We've got Ramondre Stevenson. You never know when he's going to get hurt. We have a great new running back that we picked up from Ohio State, but you can never have enough running backs. If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I'm signing him as well as 40 others because every year in training camp, the Baltimore Ravens have 12 running backs that blow out their knees. So Sailors is someone that I would say from what I've seen, there's no reason why Jacob Sailors isn't one of the 64 to 72 best running backs in the world. In which case, he belongs in the NFL.
Yeah, he seems to get all the tangibles that I would really like. He can read the offensive line really well. He can handle the zone blocking concept schemes, and I think that's the hardest part about being a running back. After that, it's just your burst and your speed. And if you're too fast for the UFL, you're fast enough to be in the NFL. So
Yes.
I think he's got it. I don't know. I don't know what the scouts are doing. They're just not. This is 2 years in a row, though, that they're missing on him. So I think this might be the year he finally gets picked up, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he deserves that spot, though, for sure.
Yes, he does.
Now, it's not all about offense, though, Rob. And we're going into some dangerous waters here because, as you guys know, me and Rob, we're just fans. We're not coaches, okay? And obviously, as fans, we pick up quicker on offensive players much, much quicker because we play fantasy football, and it's just easier to do that for people like us. But we do have a defensive player of the year announced right here.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, pita.
Yeah.
Taumoepenu.
Good luck. Yeah, good luck, sir. Pita, who I did see some big tackles, but just like the Greek freak for so long, I just didn't. I didn't even try to pronounce the last name. I would just call him Tau. But Pita goes in there and ends up getting it, and he's got a pretty good resume over there. If you look at his stats, I don't know why they even post defensive interceptions. He's got 7.5 sacks this year, first in the NFL, and 27 total tackles. It doesn't account for loss in the background too. I really don't like Fox what they show for defensive players because they don't with the big ones.
They don't provide enough stats. This is his second time being named a Spring League Defensive Player of the Year. He was the XFL's top guy in 2023 when he was a Viper. So
this is not a first time for him. And it makes a lot of sense because in the linebacker position, they play so much nickel over there. So for Pita, you got to be fast. You got to be fast. And they've had a really good defense all year long, minus that last game. But
up until the last game.
But overall, the performance for them was play nickel, play back, and then let the linebackers cook. So they relied a lot on their linebackers' speed over there, and Pita had to have answered it because him being in the linebacker position, getting 7.5 sacks, it also tells me, they stopped the run somehow, and they were pretty all right at it, playing such a soft defense that for them to even be in contention with that kind of style, you have to have really tough front linebackers that can read the ball, and Pita clearly did that.
Yeah, he's another one that should find his way into an NFL camp. Maybe not a final roster, but certainly he's good enough to be on a practice squad somewhere. So,
I mean, in the NFL, I don't care how fast you are. I don't care how, speed definitely helps. But when it comes to the linebacker position, I look for one thing and one thing only: see ball, get ball. Like, you do not freak out about play action. You don't freak out about motion or anything like that. You just know where the play is going to be and where the ball is going to end up, and then you attack that position.
Yeah.
If you're a smart linebacker, doesn't require much talent, so you could get there pretty far in the NFL. So I hope he finds a spot for sure.
Yeah, his tackle numbers show that. The fact that he doesn't have an interception, I don't really hold that against him because compared to the NFL, the UFL does not really throw the ball.
No.
So there's a lot less opportunities. 1, 7 less regular season games. 2, they're not throwing the ball nearly as much in the game as they are in the NFL. So,
and clearly he was just cut loose to go after the quarterback. So
yeah.
they weren't utilizing him as a zone concept or anything like that, for sure.
Yeah.
But as I say every week, football was to be had as we've got.
Well, hold on 1 second. We do also have to mention Special Teams Player of the Year, Kendrick Whitehead from Michigan. Great job. I'd love to tell you why he won that award, but when you click on the Read More link on the UFL website, it says 404 not found. But according to the website, he won Special Teams Player of the Year. Congratulations. As of us recording this podcast, we're still waiting to hear about Assistant Coach of the Year, Coach of the Year, and MVP.
Hey, who would you give it for the Assistant Coach of the Year? I've got a guy. I've got a guy.
If you got a guy, I want to hear it, because my problem is the guys that I liked early in the season all became head coaches. So
yeah, that was a big problem in the league. Mine's easy. I love Fred Keiss, the DC offensive coordinator. I mean,
yep,
I've
I think
always
that's
liked
a great
him.
choice.
And he's just done a wonderful job at taking this offense. He had such a bad year last year, and they were definitely made some changes, beefed up that offensive line a little, got the running game going. And Fred Keiss just designed such a quarterback-friendly offense that he is by far one of my favorite. Anthony Beck is also pretty good at scheming that same kind of style that's just quarterback-friendly. So for him to do it again, get back into the championship for 2 out of the last 4 years, including the XFL as well. He's done a really good job at building this offense.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great choice. I would back you on that. And then as far as coach of the year, for me, there's 3 very legitimate options in Anthony Beck. Because remember, all this stuff was voted on before they played the games this last weekend. So Anthony Beck's right there. Mike Nolan, no matter how aggravating he is with his quarterbacks, was right there. And then, of course, to me, the one that should win it because of the way it went down is Shannon Harris.
If it wasn't for the Etling Bryce Perkins debacle that early in the year, I would have maybe made a good discussion on Mike Nolan, because he's bringing his team back to the playoffs again, which is really impressive. That's not easy to do, and now he's bringing the team to a championship game. But you're absolutely right. It's between Shannon Harris and Anthony Beck, and Shannon Harris was dealt a really rough card. He had to take that thing over, keep that culture going, and I think he did a really good job at doing that.
When that change happened, I remember saying, I picked these guys as my sleeper to make the playoffs, and now Barlow's gone. I might look bad on that. Instead, I think they're the only team that I picked to make the playoffs that actually made it. So, and Michigan. So we're good there. I got two out of 4 right. But
yeah. Sorry. Oh, go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
I said it. Now they're playing for the title. So cool.
Yeah, I think it was an upgrade from Barlow. I really do. I watched Barlow last year, and he was fine. I don't have any issues with him, but I think he was just really soft. I don't think he brings that same culture that Shannon Harris just brings. And having Blake Williams, and by the way, he had to deal with that too. I mean, Greg Williams left and Blake Williams took over.
Yeah.
And then Fred Keiss, just being Fred Keiss, I mean, all you need to do is breed the right culture. You have all the talent in the world, and they're displaying it right now as they move on to the championship.
Yep, for sure. Speaking of,
football was to be had.
Yes, there were actual games that were actually played. So let's talk about them.
Yeah, we got the Michigan Panthers went against the Stallions, and the Michigan Panthers won 44-29, and decently. It was an okay game. The score doesn't really reflect, I think, how close it really was. But then after that, you had the DC Defenders winning pretty single-handedly. That game, I think, was a smackdown, 36-18.
And 12 of those points that the Battlehawks got, you can kind of push to the side. They got that bad Tiamo pick. They had the ball inside the 5, so there's 6 points. Tiamo doesn't turn it over. That they don't get those points. And then they had a garbage time touchdown. So that was just total domination by one team with a couple of minor errors.
Yeah, it was not a good game at all for the Battlehawks, and I think it was. Well, I guess we'll talk about that game first for sure.
We'll get let's talk about the first one.
No, let's go for it. I think the Battlehawks, I think they did not match up well against the DC Defenders at all in that game. I just mentioned a little earlier with their soft nickel offense. If you have a team that relies heavily on the pass, I don't know, like Luis Perez and Renegades, it'll work on you, especially because they have a good front 4. The problem is you got to be able to stop the run. And I think they were ranked, last time I saw was like 5th in stopping the run, which is average. It's good. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. But you're playing against the DC Defenders, who has Jackson back there running the ball. Teamu can run the zone read. And they have a really good offensive line. So
that offensive line balled out.
Big time with that game. Yeah. And the DC defenders just were able to move up and down the field, waiting for the big play. Te'amu is going to be able to go get those big plays once the defense starts creeping up. And the DC defenders just ran away with it. I also have my thoughts on the Battlehawks offense, but Rob, I'll let you pick up where I left off there.
Yeah, it was such a good game. At this point, I'm rooting for the defenders. I have made that very obvious over the last few weeks. With my team being out and the defenders being my preseason dark horse pick, I got to ride with the random bullseye that I actually got in the preseason, so I'm going to do that. It was just it was a blowout in every sense of the word. The defenders' defense has been a defense that has been known to give up points, known to be caught being a little bit too aggressive, and that did not happen here. They were so much more disciplined. They kind of hung back. They were ready for it. It seemed very clear that Shannon Harris and his coaches changed their game plan for round 3 of this matchup. Granted, round 2 didn't really count at all, but still, for round 3 of this matchup, they made the adjustments. And my favorite coach in the league, Anthony Bex, did not seem to do that, and he definitely didn't seem to make any changes at halftime either. I will say, though, the injury bug got them there. When they switched to Silvers, there was a spark. And then it looks like when Silvers got driven, it wasn't a dirty play at all, but he got driven into the turf. It looks like he probably broke his collarbone. That was that. And you hate on Duggan's throwing motion. That throwing motion did lead to the turnover early on in the first half when they were able to get to him and strip the ball because it took too long. So that came back to bite him. And, if I'm an NFL team, if anyone asks me like, hey, do we bring Taumoepenu in? I just kind of show him not Taumoepenu, Duggan in. If I'm the scout, I show that highlight and I say, no. He's got to change his throwing motion. And do we really need that project as our practice squad guy?
I think he's really smart with the ball. And I think I love his tenacity in the pocket. Like that part's actually really cool where he can move around.
He balls out and his team is behind him because there is nothing he won't do. There is nothing he will shy away from. He will go out and make a block. He will go out and get obliterated trying to get a first down. So that warrior mentality is what gets the players to play for him, and it gets offense to believe in him. But the defenders were adjusting, and they were beating the Battlehawks offensive line, and his release was too slow. So you've been calling it for months, and it came back to bite them.
Yeah, in order to beat the DC defenders, who do have a good front four, but their secondary is beatable. They've been able to score on them. They're aggressive, but they've been able to score on them. You've got to have a quarterback that can actually throw the deep ball or at least scheme around those the secondary over there. So your Luis Perez's tend to do well against the DC defender. Your Bryce Perkins should do okay just because he's such a game changer when he gets back into the pocket that the secondary has to hold for much longer than they really want to. Adrian Martinez last year did something like that. But if you're not one of the top tier quarterbacks in this league, I think you're in for a world of hurt with the DC defenders because you got to be smart and you got to get that ball out quickly and you need to know the spots that you're going to have to attack. I believe all this was Duggan being out, because you could say a lot about the Battlehawks defense, but when they're on the field for that long, 3 and out, I mean, your defense is going to crack.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen. But if Duggan if Manny Wilkins never got hurt, I think Manny Wilkins is better for this kind of team, in my opinion. And Manny Wilkins might have had a better shot at it. But once he went down, you work with the cards you got. Duggan had a great year. There's no denying that. He took it very far.
Loss as a starter.
Yeah. So it's an amazing year that he had, but the cream starts coming to the top in this case, and it just didn't seem like he's at least right now ready. Maybe if he works on his throwing motion, though. I mean, that's all it is just working on the throwing motion. And
Make it quicker.
Not that he's an all-world passer or anything, but Dak Prescott had a similar throwing motion that everyone loved him in the beginning of the year, 2016, and I felt like the only person, because you know how weird I am with this, going, I can't stand his throwing motion. It's going to hurt him. And he completely changed it to a very normal, quick release, fast motion. So it can happen. He just needs to work on it. I mean, you're just putting too much. You can get Tom Brady is a good example of a quick release. You can get a lot for a little motion. It doesn't take much.
It does not. It's doable. He can make that adjustment. I'm so excited to see how the Defenders defense matches up against Perkins next week. I'm stoked. But the one bit of drama I saw coming out before we switch over to the next game, coming out of that Battlehawks loss, is there are Battlehawks Twitter. A lot of the diehards they're done with Anthony Becht. They're like, we don't care. You can win us 100 regular season games. You've lost us 2 playoff games. Go. And it's like almost universal with all these diehards. And it's like, I'm out there. I see James Larson, a lot of other people saying, whoa, pump the brakes. You don't get rid of Anthony Becht. But I will be the first one to say, as I said on Twitter many times, hopefully y'all are following me on there, if the Battlehawks are dumb enough to listen to their very jaded and instant gratification fans and fire him, San Antonio, you better hire him immediately and just hand him a blank check, because my goodness, he will fix that dumpster fire that is going on in San Antonio.
Yeah, some more came out with AJ Smith, I heard, but I don't know the details, so I'm not going to repeat them. But I heard some other things are coming out from that team. Yeah. I'm right there with you. You cannot fire Anthony Becht. That guy is, I think, if not one, he's the second best coach in the league for sure. So I love it. I love his attitude. I like the way he motivates his team, and I like his scheme. I think he's a smart guy, knows how to run it, and to fire him would just be dumb. And I'm right there with you. If they fired him, I don't think they will. But if they do, Renegades, especially with the Bob Stoops not playing the last.
The Renegades don't need him. The Renegades
we kind of need him.
They don't need him. They don't need him. San Antonio can take him. Or let's be honest, if you're a mid-major type D1 college program, go get you an Anthony Becht.
Seriously. I think he'd be really good. I think he could turn the program around, especially like a program that might not have the right culture in place and they've got stuff going on that behind the scenes that they just need to get fixed. Anthony Becht's your guy because he's going to bring in an awesome culture. Yeah,
he would. If the Battlehawks are that dumb, the Battlehawks, I bet you they miss the playoffs next year, just out of karma.
Yeah, I don't think they realize how much he has. He took a Max Duggan, who, with all the qualms that we just talked about, you just said it. He only has one loss as a starter in this league. And so for him to do that, I think was really impressive, just working with what he got and making it happen. Although I know I'm besmirching, I don't mean to besmirch Max Duggan. I'm just saying, like, a big part of his play style was passing the ball, and to figure out how to scrap that, and let's figure out more zone read and things like that to run the ball better. And we're just going to work with that. That'll become our bread and butter. Was amazing. And for this team to go as far as they did, it's really nice. I St. Louis fans, you have a good one. You have a treasure. Don't ruin this for your sake. Unless he goes to the Renegades.
Yeah. But that was the nightcap. But we had a slightly more competitive, but only slightly more competitive, I think. First game. I know you're saying it looked a lot closer than it was. It did get within one score, but the Panthers were in firm control early. And even when the Stallions made it look close, I never thought the Stallions were going to win once the Panthers got that lead.
The big controversy that I got out of this game, although the offense didn't look too bad, they were staying with them for the most part with the Stallions, is Matt Corral. You went with Matt Corral instead of Jamar Smith. Do you think that was a bad call off Skip Holtz?
Well, I missed this. I did miss the start of the game. Did Smith not even start? Did they just go straight up with Corral?
I believe they went with Corral. Yes.
Yeah, because I know Corral got into the game, and then Corral started moving the ball.
And he's
I was
good.
I was under the impression that Smith started and sucked it up. Yeah, no, Smith did not. Smith did start. Jamar Smith
Gotcha.
did start. Here we go. And then they brought Matt Corral in later on, but Jamar Smith did start, and Skip Holtz got desperate, and he brought in Matt Corral. The offense looked better with Matt Corral.
Yeah, they scored a lot in the second half.
But I mean, that being said, had Matt Corral not got injured earlier on, it never would have been Jamar Smith's team. And Smith came in and he had a spark for a while.
Yeah. Matt Corral did the best he could. They're not meant for it. They're a team that's not meant to play behind, because without that run, they're in some trouble. And it was every time they answered the bell and got back into it, Bryce Perkins took that offense, the Michigan Panthers, against that Stallions defense. That Stallions defense is the second team in the UFL this year to give up over 40 points.
Yeah.
And that's a really good defense. They've had a really good defense all year long. So for them to do that against them, eye-opener for sure.
Yeah, and Perkins was offensive player of the year, first team UFL already. 20 for 25 for 238 and a touchdown, whereas Smith was 4 of 10 for 102, a tutty and a pick. And then Corral was also below 50%, 12 of 25, 147, but he had 2 touchdowns, but he also did have 1 interception. But Corral did also have a fumble as well. So he got stripped at some point. So the Panthers defense was ready, and the musical chairs at quarterback finally caught up to the Stallions.
Yeah, and then finally caught up. And I said in our pregame before the beginning of the game, the biggest issue that I have with the Stallions, why I didn't think they were going to pull this game off, is because they had Adrian Martinez, the best player, hands down, the MVP last year. And now that Adrian Martinez is gone, he was their number one rusher. He was a big part of that offense. And for him to just go away and somehow still get back into it with a rabid Michigan Panthers team that has improved on quarterback with Bryce Perkins over either Etling or EJ Perry, whoever it would have been. This was a big upgrade for them. And I just felt like this is the Michigan Panthers time, and it finally did show up. I'll tell you one thing, if I'm the Stallions, I wouldn't freak out too much. You went this far with quarterbacks, although you had the best in the league, one of the best, best rotation.
If I played for the Stallions, I wouldn't be too freaked out. If I was the town of Birmingham, I might wonder, honestly, and I'm saying this honestly, if that was the last game in Birmingham. This was a playoff game. You were the home team, and you drew. The official attendance was a little over 10,000, which means in actuality, probably about 7,000 people in the stands at its peak, because we all know the official attendance numbers are always inflated a bit, and they include random giveaway tickets or people that didn't show. They're not counting the actual turnstile gate for that. So
a weird thing, though, is the St. Louis Battlehawks, although I think it was 29,000, that they were low for their sake, though. They're usually trying to get up there in the 40,000s, and for them to only get 29,000,
that was shocking. It was still bigger than any other crowd that in the UFL would have delivered. But that just shows you the UFL's got to figure out their marketing problem. They got to get out there to the fans, and they shouldn't be playing in 30,000 seat stadiums. They just shouldn't be. They should be playing in stadiums that max out at 10,000. Make those tickets a little bit more in demand. Get the stands full. Get that atmosphere better. It's better for TV. It's better for everything. I would not be surprised at all if the UFL leaves Birmingham and the UFL leaves Memphis.
Man. Well, I think Memphis is in a little bit of a predicament because the FedEx actually owns, not FedEx, but they're one of the few teams that actually has ownership separate from the league. I didn't know this until recently.
Well, that ownership sucks.
I think that's why they were making some of the changes, lowering beer prices and things like that, because they have a little bit more control of it.
Yeah.
And you got to remember they took over this team, and this team was, in the fire early in the year. I don't think they were ever predicted to do too well.
But you've got
And
hundreds of people in the stands, not thousands.
yeah, but remember, I keep saying it. The fans don't owe the product anything. They don't have to.
They don't.
It's a choice. So if you're putting out bad football, why am I going to go to a game, especially in the heat? Well,
Hell,
why? Why would I?
free hot dogs and dollar beers.
Yeah, that would be the only reason
What's
why
the
I would
worst
go.
thing that could happen?
Or why? Yeah. Or well, in the heat too, right?
Nice.
But like I don't see any reason to go out there. Maybe if nothing else is to go watch the other football teams that they're playing against, get to see Taumoepenu or something. That'd be kind of cool if that happened, or Bryce Perkins. So, but outside of that, I feel bad for the Showboat fan base because I don't think this is 2 years in a row that I just don't know what they could do. I really don't. We need to see a good football team in Memphis, and then I can start making a real good assessment on what their market is. But doing what they did this year, I wouldn't have gone to a game.
I don't think we will. I think Memphis is like I said, Las Vegas Showboat sounds real damn good.
Vegas had the same problem though in the XFL. They were the worst out of all of them at just showing up for a game. So but again, bad team.
They take a page out of the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Like, make it an event, make it marketable, push it, and again, dirt cheap tickets. Get the fans in the stand, and they shouldn't be playing where the Raiders play. Have them go play at UNLV or something.
I think that's where they played, if I remember correctly, or was it it might have been a minor league ballpark.
That's fine. That makes sense. It's all good. Hell, just throw some sod down in the middle of the strip.
Hey, okay, now I'd be up for that. I don't know what this is, but I am down. I'm going to be at the Vegas Strip to watch some football.
I feel like the UFL is probably a bit more of a Fremont vibe versus a Strip vibe. So let's throw it in Fremont. Let's.
And they got the roof. They can do it.
Yeah, it's doable. There we go. Las Vegas Showboats brought to you by the Golden Nugget. Let's do it.
Love it. That'd be really cool. That would actually be really neat. I don't know all the ins and outs to pull that off, but Rob said to do it, so therefore just make it happen. I don't care how. Just make it happen.
Let's do it. So that means we got a title game. Unless there's anything else you want to jump in on that game, X's and O's.
Nope. Nothing more. It's just I think we got the two best teams here, and it looks like Vegas is already posting the favorite to this game.
Who they got?
They've got the Michigan Panthers as the 3-point favorite against the DC Defenders. They're going to be playing over at the Battle Dome. Over under is interesting too. It's at 49.5. Any gambling tips on this one, Rob? What do you think you should bet on here?
Fade the Homer Hour first off, of course.
Number one.
If you faded us all season, you want to sponsor our show next year because you're probably rich. But I think that's a smart play. The Defenders' defense is going to have to come out and be as disciplined as they were this last week. And if they are, and if they can stay in their lane, if they can put a spy on Perkins and they make it work, they can force Perkins to make mistakes. They do that, and then Taumoepenu just can avoid the random interception he'll throw sometimes, and the Defenders should win. But Mike Nolan is technically a better coach, technically, right? They've got a much more disciplined defense. Like, the Panthers' defense is – I know a lot of people talk about the Battlehawks' defense. I think the Panthers' defense was the best all season. The Panthers are the most complete team. They should be favored. They should win. But, of course, So I would bet my money on the Panthers, but I want the Defenders to win. I think the Defenders should win. In Tiamu, we trust. Go Beer Snake. Let's do it. My other question is, does Vegas have over-under odds on the amount of fans in the non-destination city that is St. Louis without a Battlehawks team in the playoffs?
I would pin it at 10,000, and I think you're going to get probably the under. I don't think this game's going to be that big fans-wise. Last year, it actually was
in for like $20.
Yeah, last year I think same situation where they were not the right destination because the Battlehawks didn't make it in, but they ended up getting 20. They got close. I think it was like 18,000. So the fans did end up showing up, but the Battlehawk Nation I think just was out there to just support the league. I don't know if they're going to do it again this year because the Battlehawks they probably felt they were a little done dirty. And we forgot to talk about Pereira causing some issues too there.
Oh my goodness! Yes, pause the preview.
They're not happy with him, and you said it in the beginning of the pregame.
I did.
Yeah, you called that from the very beginning. You were like, Pereira better stay out of it. Pereira got it.
He, especially in the Defenders game, he did not. Battlehawks fans were losing their mind over that pass interference. And it was, especially when you slow it down. He did get there early. It was pass interference. But for some reason, Pereira kept repeating, which is not something he's done all season, kept repeating that he had to judge the play at game speed. And because he has to judge the play at game speed, yeah, he made up a new rule. He made up a new rule like in that moment. He did. And they're just like, what? It made no sense.
They're challenging it because they disagree with it. You know, they saw something. And then when you put it in slow motion.
And if you have to always judge it at game speed, then there's no point to have challenges because the refs already judged it at game speed. They did.
Yeah. Your job out there is it's okay. You've got the advantage. And it's not the ref's fault for getting the call wrong either, by the way. I get it. No. It was a bang-bang play. He's not lying.
Bang-bang. If you're in real time, I have no issue with no flag. And then on Twitter, like people were losing.
But you know what Pereira has? Sorry, there's a little delay. Do you know what Pereira has that the regular refs do not have? He's got slow motion, Rob.
And they're showing it to us in slow motion. And he's saying, nope, it's a bang-bang play. I have to watch it and judge it in regular speed. So I'm going to turn this over. And then he had another, I forget which call it was, but he had another call in the game. And he pretty much, I swear I heard him say, like, we want the Defenders or something, or we want the team we want's up. Like, he said something weird like that, real off the cuff, and it was like, denied the challenge. And I was just like, wait, what did I just hear? Like, and I'm trying to find, because I tweeted about it. I X'd about it, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to see if I can find it. While I scroll, please riff on Pereira.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to go up to the booth. You're supposed to do your part to get this. The what? What did it say?
So it was I just found it. It was on the super challenge for holding. And what I swear I heard him say was offensive holding is not what we want.
It's called a super challenge. You're able to challenge whatever you want on the field. If you see a penalty, Pereira, be honest. Did you see a penalty? And then you make the call. So he better. I don't think he's going to be the guy in charge this game.
I mean, he's Fox's guy. Oh wait, but the game's on ESPN, right? The title game.
It's got to be on Fox. Fox is the main.
It's Fox's league, but it's been real weird. No, it is on ESPN because I remember Fox had that weird post where they said the game's on Sunday the 14th. I was like, Fox, the Sunday is the 15th. You do have access to calendars.
Right.
Which led me having to go research the schedule to figure out what in the world when the game was, because if the people that run the league don't know what day of the week it is or when the game is, how are the fans supposed to know? But the game is Saturday night. The game is Saturday night. I'm scrolling. I'm trying to find it. Oh, maybe they deleted that post because they had the date wrong. They must have.
They just got confused. I'll tell you what. My prediction on this game. I'm kind of everything you said is kind of where I'm heading right now with this. You're right. I think the Michigan Panthers have the best defense in this league. They will be able to shut down that run. Although DC defenders, they do have a good offensive line, so maybe they can answer. Maybe they can answer the Panthers, but the Panthers bring it to another level on the defensive front, especially compared to St. Louis. If they stop Jackson, they stop Taumoepenu on the running side of it. I mean, their secondary is fine. They can usually play right there with him. And Taumoepenu, the only advantage I could see where he can win this game is he just can throw over the safeties, and the safeties just have to go up in the game and are back up to a point where they can start running it down. But outside of that, my football head is just telling me I just don't see it. On the other hand, the DC Defenders, who has a pretty good defense, good front four, I think the Stallions are better than them, and the Stallions couldn't figure out Bryce Perkins. So if Bryce Perkins can do it on the Stallions, the DC Defenders can eat. I mean, I would imagine this would be nice. So if I had advice for the DC Defenders with Bryce Perkins, you're right about the spy. You always want to keep that on him. But specifically, maybe Blake Williams has to go back to his bread and butter and just fire up the blitz and try to confuse Bryce Perkins before Bryce Perkins can get the ball off. Because if they do that and stop the run, they can stay right there with them for sure.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get a treat of a game. I do not think we're gonna see a blowout. I think we're gonna see some seesawing, and we might see a game where two teams get in the 30s.
Yeah, very possible here.
Yeah, the Panthers' defense is real good, but Taumoepenu is just so accurate. It doesn't matter if they're covered. It's definitely both teams will be in the 20s for sure. And it might be first to 32 or 33 points wins the game. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. Now, Rob, I know it's your wife's birthday that day, so you're not going to be able to join us on the live broadcast. Am I correct?
Her birthday's on Sunday, so I should be able to jump in a little bit on Saturday. Her birthday is Sunday.
Okay. We're going to do something big here because I've already got two down. I just started like pre-planning on people to join us. It's going to be wild. We got
the whole game. So all you Rob fans out there, you don't count me the whole time. I'm sorry, but I'll jump in for a little bit for sure.
Come in for the second half, at least.
Yeah. We'll figure out what the schedule looks like, and obviously I'm going to be watching the game. But as far as being able to stream and watch, we'll see. We'll see. It's a busy weekend ahead, but I'm excited. It's going to be good football.
And if Rob doesn't make it, I still have a game plan. I've got Tyler, who's going to be back on, our non-UFL expert. He's kind of just fun, just getting that perspective on it. Kind of like Patrick, one of our streams, where you just have a guy that's like, I'm just down for football. Why not? And he got a good kick out of the league, said a lot of good things about the product. So I just think that's helpful for the league to get people like that just to watch it and just react to it. But get it. He's probably not your number one for UFL Insight, but he's going to ask questions that you just don't think about on it. And then the game plan is also bringing on Reed. So we're going to try to make it a little bit of a party, have a little fun with it. Sure. And we'll be reacting live, so could be a 4-man group at some points, and if that's the case, it's going to be a lot of fun watching us. So please join us on X, post comments on YouTube, wherever you may watch it, because we're going to try to have fun. If your team's out of it like me and you're not going to have to be super focused, this is a little fun broadcast to watch it with.
For sure. Yeah, and then we're going to be back next week with our weekly recap, and we're going to talk all things postseason, And then also next week is when we will officially, I've thrown those crumbs out there, but next week's when we're officially going to kind of tell you what our game plan is for the UFL offseason. What is the Homer Hour going to be talking about going forward? We're not going away. We're going to keep coming at you, and it's going to be some good stuff.
Yeah. We have a lot of ideas, and we want to see what we'll announce what we have next week. Rob, you always do better at this. Where do they like us? Where do they follow us?
All right. So, I mean, if you're watching this, you're probably watching this on YouTube. So if you haven't liked and subscribed, my goodness, like and subscribe to our YouTube. Help us out there. You can find me on X at RobL4409. You can find Mr. Nick Beanie on X as well at BINI and other stuff. Nick can tell you.
You can type in UFL Homer Hour though; it will pop up.
Type in UFL Homer
just
Hour.
Put in UFL Homer Hour.
And Nick will pop up for sure. And then you could please do join our growing community on Instagram. The Nick and Rob, look for at Nick and Rob Homer Hour. Join us on Instagram as well. Get in while there's still plenty of room on the ground floor because we are growing. Because AI does know who we are now.
Yes, it's official. I looked us up, and Gemini, they're on to us. So if the machines take over, Rob, we're on the list.
We're on the list. So yeah, make sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a follow. If you got a football loving friend, send them a link to our pod. Let's get more people talking football, talking UFL, and having a good time.
Yes, and so until next week, guys, we will see you later.